Yo, what's going on guys? Arekkz here, welcome back to another video for Monster Hunter Double Cross on Switch. And today we're doing something a little bit fun, a little bit different, and I thought I'd take the time to compare the 3DS version with the Switch version. Now, I appreciate some of you guys might be like, well, this is kind of like comparing apples and oranges. I mean, one of them plays at a considerably lower resolution, the other one plays at 1080. So it's kind of obvious that one of them is going to look better, but I just thought it would be kind of fun to put them side by side and just sort of see the differences in some of the notable areas. I'm jumping between different sections. I've actually used the 3DS demo for this as opposed to the full version of the game, because then that way I can use like identical armor sets. The demos were actually different, however. So the 3DS demo when Monster Hunter Double Cross, or kind of before Monster Hunter Double Cross came out, actually had Yankuk in the Ancient Forest as the easy quest. It then had Barroth in the dunes or the desert as the medium quest, and Barioth in the snowy mountains as the difficult quest. Whereas the Switch version has Great Macau, again in the Ancient Forest, as the easy quest. It then has Barioth as the medium quest, again in the snowy peaks, and this time for the hard quest it actually has the flagship monster, Valfalk, in the new area. I forgot the name of it, but the kind of ancient temple looking area looks really, really cool. So, admittedly, there are a couple of discrepancies here, so what I've decided to do is compare some of the sort of scenery side by side, as you can sort of see here, in the matching areas. But of course, when it comes to combat, you may see a few differences here and there, and at the end, I'll tack on some Valfalk gameplay, just a few minutes from the demo, just showing one of my favourite Brave weapons in action, Switch Axe in Brave style. If you guys haven't had a chance to try it out, then I, of course, highly recommend you download the demo if you have a Switch. If you haven't seen my video from yesterday, I show you guys how to do that. But the Switch Axe in Brave style is so incredibly fun, because once you get your Brave meter maxed out, you can effectively just spam the R button, and it does this crazy combo where you transition between axe and sword, and you dish out some insane damage, but it's just also ridiculously over the top. So in the gameplay, if you see me doing anything kind of crazy where I'm sort of standing there, that's of course how you build your Brave meter. You can either build it through dodges, being attacked, or you can build it through just kind of like going from a Brave stance into an attack, and of course those hits will then build your meter. Now on the topic of 3DS versus Switch, of course they have adapted the UI given that Switch is full 16:9, whereas of course 3DS isn't quite that. I appreciate also you wouldn't typically see a 3DS at this full screen. I've kind of full screened it on my capture software. But they improved the UI. They of course mapped the Hunter Arts to your D-pad, so if you have 3 Hunter Arts, say you're playing in either Alchemy style or Striker style, then you'll see that at the bottom of the screen. In this case I've only got one, but you can then press the corresponding kind of direction on the D-pad to actually use that, which is really handy because on the 3DS you can either tap the bottom of the screen, which is, you know, fair enough, or there were some button shortcuts, but they were a little bit finicky. One of them was like RX and Y, whereas the other ones were the shoulder buttons. So, you know, easy enough, but having them on the D-pad just makes them super accessible. Of course, the map is down there as well. And then, of course, you have the option to lock onto the monster in the top screen. So it does look really nice. Of course, it does run at 30 FPS. It doesn't run at 60. I'm assuming they're kind of doing that for parity between the 3DS and the Switch versions. But again, it's just sort of nice to be able to see some of these areas in slightly higher resolution textures. So looks pretty sweet. But anyway, I'm going to leave you guys with the rest of this video. It's basically just sort of some kind of gameplay side by side. There'll be sections where it sort of like switches between both. There'll be sections where you see them next to each other, sections where you kind of see them one after another. So it should give you guys a good idea as to some of the kind of obvious differences. Of course, if you guys do enjoy the video, then a like would be super appreciated. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys have had a chance to jump in on the Switch version. If you have, how are you getting on with it? How is the kind of language? I appreciate for the demo it's pretty simple. You jump in, you select your weapon, and you're good to go. So you might not necessarily be fully exposed to, say, the menus and whatnot, but for those of you guys that perhaps have been working your way through without knowledge of Japanese, it'd be good to kind of like know how you guys have been working through the demo, because of course this may well be a taste for if you do decide to import it in a few weeks. But anyway, thank you for watching, enjoy the rest of this, take it easy, catch you next time, peace out.